Hello and welcome everybody. Here we are with the Alchemy of Healing membership. Well, not membership. This is, it's just a bunch of good people getting together. We're talking about holistic dental health tonight. I'm going to pull up my screen to share what I've put together for you folks. And then while I'm doing that, just a gentle reminder, we will be recording this. So if you don't want to be seen, please, I'm sorry, I thought I could do two things at once. Please turn off your video and just type things in the chat. I plan on having time for questions afterwards, but I do want to just go over with this here. This is Alchemy of Healing, where we combine nature's remedies and the healing power of your own body. And that does include dentistry. So dental health tonight is the topic. It is Dental Health Month. I am not a doctor. I won't diagnose. Only you can make the decisions for you. You have free will to accept or reject what I share. You get to decide. It's all up to you. So why me? Well, I'm a practicing dental hygienist for over 40 years. And I have been studying naturopathy and holistic remedies for over 35 years. And all the stuff that I share, I've also done for myself. Yep, I tried it on myself first. So our topics for the night are bad breath, fluoride, ice chewing, and safety in the dental office. And between 25 and 50% of people have chronic halitosis or bad breath. But most of the time, we have it every once in a while. Like this icon, I just thought this would kind of bring a smile. You know, when you think of garlic, Thai food, those kind of things are going to hang around, really hang around in the soft tissue more than in the hard tissue. But the causes and solutions for bad breath are periodontal disease. We're going to be going over these one by one. Plaque, gut issues, sinuses, dehydration, and untreated decay. So as you can see from that, 3 of the 6 don't even start in your mouth. So periodontal disease is a breakdown of the tissue in our mouths. And I kind of liken it to an autoimmune disease because it is your body's response to a bacteria that can actually invade the tissue, and then the bone starts to break itself down to get away from the infection. The cool thing is we're born with a pristine mouth. We have no pathogens in our mouth until the age of 2. And that's when we acquire the diseases that we pick up. So the thing is about that is, what do you do? I mean, that's how little kids learn, right? They learn by putting things in their mouth. They go around and taste everybody's food from other plates. They might drink out of your cup. There are a lot of ways that children pick up other people's bacteria. And they normally pick them up from caregivers or, mom, dad, or grandparents or caregivers. So how can we support our bodies when our bodies are fighting off these invading pathogens? And your dental team can help you with this. There are some alternative supportive therapies that you can do. One of the easy things to do although most dental insurances don't reimburse for it, are more frequent dental hygiene visits. Periodontal disease starts in healthy pockets. It starts when they're not bleeding, when there's no inflammation, but it works its way around the neck of the tooth. And so the best time to cure periodontal disease is before it's done any damage. So I would highly recommend that if you go to the hygienist and you have bleeding, or if they happen to say that you have this bone looks a little weak, that you really step up your game at home, because this is when you can really change what's happening in your mouth. So the Kai's technique, if you type that in, Dr. Kai's was a periodontist. He was a gum specialist who was back in the 70s. So I graduated from hygiene school in 78. And so I have been practicing since then. So I've seen a lot of things, and I've seen how things work and how things don't firsthand. So I know, and I have worked in offices where the Kai's technique was implemented. If you type in the Kai's technique, you can find free resources, don't pay for it, free resources on what to do. And if you guys want to know more about that, I'll happily type in the protocol and make sure, I'll do a short video on the protocol. But basically what it is it's a hydrogen peroxide and hydrogen peroxide and baking soda slurry. You kind of mix it up into like a really thin paste, take your toothbrush, rub it into your gum, take a rubber tip, rub it into your gum, and then floss. And what happens with that is, with the change in the pH, that bacteria dies. Something new this is going to be high information. I'm sorry. If it gets tedious, I will be asking if anybody's falling asleep. But if it's exciting and interesting, I sure hope it is, because this, there's so many new things. Because Xylitol products, you buy those over the counter. Xylitol has been proven to inhibit plaque's ability to thrive. So that is going to break, what it does is it actually can break up biofilm. And you're going to hear me talking about biofilm throughout the night, because biofilm is that little matrix. It's the stuff that's on the inside of a fish tank. It's that slimy coating that's on the inside of a fish tank that you can't just rinse off that green stuff. You have to really scrub it off. Well, that's biofilm. And biofilm is the big thing that happened with Legionnaire's disease in the water, in the air conditioners way back whenever that happened. So biofilm is everywhere. When it's in our mouth, it is it's the base. These germs are so smart. They build up walls around themselves. They have feeding reservoirs. They have waste evacuation systems. I mean, they are not going anywhere unless you can break through that wall. And xylitol happens to do that. Now, it has to be 100% xylitol to work. You'll find xylitol in like Trident chewing gum. You'll find it in other toothpaste, but then it's mixed with another sweetener. It's got to be 100% xylitol. You have to use it on a consistent, like 5 doses a day. Well, that's a lot of doses, right? But there is a company out there called Spry, SPRY.com. You can find gum, you can find mints, they've got toothpaste, mouthwash, floss. They have everything that you can think of. And you want to have 5 exposures a day. So what would 5 exposures look like? They would look like brushing your teeth and flossing. They would look like brushing your teeth and using a mouthwash. So that would be 2 exposures if you did one of those in the morning and one at night. And then you would want to have 2 pieces of chewing gum. That's 1 dose, or 3 of their mints. That's 1 dose. So you just have to have 1 extra dose. So maybe you have a mince halfway in the morning, halfway in the afternoon, and then after lunch, you have your 2 pieces of gum. You've got your exposure there. Sounds too good to be true. So what's the drawback? Xylitol is not digestible. That's how these bacteria die. That's how they can break down the biofilm, because the bacteria try to eat it, but it can't digest it, so it spits it right out. Well, if they can't eat it and digest it, neither can you. So one of the side effects of xylitol for people is an upset stomach, a lot of gas, maybe even diarrhea. So you do want to be cautious when you're starting out using xylitol that you just don't jump all in. You want to take your time with it. Okay. Otherwise, you might be sorry. So you might just try getting the toothpaste and see how that works. But of course, you're going to be spitting out the toothpaste. You're going to be spitting out the mouthwash. So the more likely stuff you're going to swallow would be, of course, your mints and your gum, that kind of stuff. And then there's this something that we can do in dental offices to discover if you do have the pathogens of periodontal disease and catch it before it even gets started. Their oral DNA saliva testing, but that is something that you do in a dental office. And it's amazing. I'm just delighted with this tool because it can tell us early on what's happening, how successful the treatment is. It's a swish and spit. It takes 30 seconds to swish, 3 days to get the results back. And then you either talk to your hygienist or email back and forth. And then there's something else called Perio Protect trays, and they are special trays made that you wear every night. You don't wear them at night. You put a hydrogen peroxide gel in them because the gel is a low dose, but these trays are made specifically for your mouth. And so when you put this gel in the trays and you pop it in, it goes to the pocket depths that you are, and it sanitizes the pocket depths. I've seen this work really well for some people, not so great with others. So there's still some areas that it's, we still need to be doing other things. There's no perfect solution. Well, I guess that's life, right? So now we're moving on to plaque. Now plaque is the bacteria. Well, no, it's not. It's food debris and some bacteria that live in your mouth. And so what can you do when it comes to removing plaque? And then you can think about better brushing and disclosing solution. There's a toothpaste, and I'm going to show you what it looks like in a minute, but it's called Plaque HD. You may be able to buy it at your dental office. You can buy it online. It is a little more expensive online, according to the manufacturer. I love this company. It's all green. They have even they're lowering their carbon footprint. They're looking for ways to do that. And they make it in Joliet, Illinois. So it's a local, a US company. A power brush is also great. I'll be going over that kind of stuff a little bit later. The great thing about the power brush is the timer on it. You can also get yourself a timer. If you are not using a power brush, you really need to brush for 4 minutes, or even with a power brush, dry brushing is a phenomenal tool. Dry brushing, no toothpaste or water. If you ever do that, you are going to notice how firm your bristles feel. They're just so cool because you can really get in between your teeth. And with dry brushing, what you'll do is you will just brush until your teeth feel clean. So you can be doing something else. You're not going to be foaming at the mouth like you've got a lot of toothpaste in your mouth. You don't have to spit. This is stuff that's in your mouth anyway. So you brush until your teeth feel good. Now, the thing is, the reason dry brushing is so effective is toothpaste can make your mouth feel a little slick, and the spiciness or the mintiness of the toothpaste can numb your tongue. So you're lulled into thinking that your teeth are cleaner than they are. You also want to do some daily interdental cleaning. Now, notice I did not say floss, floss, floss. Daily interdental cleaning, that can be your floss, yes. It can be a water pick, yes. It can be the little soft picks that you can, little brushes that can go in between your teeth. You can use the floss aids, just do it. It's going to make all the difference, because that's 2/5 of your teeth you never touch if you're not flossing or using some way to clean in between your teeth. The dry brushing can help there, but really helps a lot to have a different way to clean in between your teeth too. Oral probiotics, I'll talk to you a little bit about those later as well. Oral probiotics are lozenges. If you do a search online for oral probiotics, what you're going to find is gut probiotics that you take orally. So you want to make sure you're getting a lozenge. One of the companies that has a really good oral probiotic is Probiora, Probiora. The company Swanson also makes a really good oral probiotic, as does the company Burst, which you'll be hearing about later. All of those make really good quality, do their job oral probiotics. It's a lozenge, puts healthy bacteria in your mouth. If you overload with healthy bacteria, you're going to squeeze out the pathogens. So bad breath means that you've got an overload of bad bacteria floating around somewhere, bad stuff. So you want to balance that out. And the easy thing with oral probiotics, oh my gosh, guys, you put a lozenge in your mouth at night, let it mix a little bit with your saliva, shove it in one cheek or the other, under your tongue, wherever you want to put it, and go to sleep. And in the morning, after you've done that for maybe 3 days, as long as you don't have any other issues going on, you're going to wake up with the sweetest breath ever. You're just going to love it. And then, of course, the Xylitol products. Now, one thing that I was super excited about, and I didn't put the link to it in this into this presentation, but oregano kills the bacteria. It's a strong essential oil. So you never want to use it straight up, but in your mouth rinse, you could use it in your mouth rinse. Now, what I would suggest that you do, if you're going to use an essential oil as a mouth rinse, I'm going to suggest that you add a little bit of baking soda in the water that you're mixing it with, because that will help take that essential oil so that it becomes in the suspension in the water instead of just floating on the top of the water. Okay. So oregano, you can add that to your water pick. No, you wouldn't. I'm so sorry. Forget that. Because if you're going to put baking soda in, that would kind of mess up your thing. But, I never can say tea tree oil. Melaleuca is tea tree oil, and that actually does break up biofilm. So that is a really cool thing. So I've been really going over a bunch of stuff. If anybody has a question, this might be a good time to answer any questions before I go further. Kathy, yes.
Yes, I don't know if have you ever seen the toothbrushes that have a silver strip in them? It's from Norwex.
I have not, but I bet you Pat has. She's a Norwex distributor. Are you too, Kathy?
Well, I was for 10 years and I stopped in August because I started an online business, but I buy through a friend because my whole house is Norwex because they're cleaning cloths, like everything has the silver.
Yes. Yeah.
There's Pat.
There she is. So Pat, I'll ask
I just
you.
walked in the house.
Yes, you just made it in time. So I'm going to ask you to put your contact information in the chat because people may be asking you about the silver in the toothbrush.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? I wanted to ask you more because they just came out with toothpaste and mouthwash, and I didn't know what to look for in it to like some of the things you were talking about.
Yeah.
Just if they're in it or how it works.
Do you know what? Why don't you take a photo of it and send it to me?
Okay.
And I would say it's probably a pretty green, pretty clean kind of product, just because of the brand quality that you guys have. You know, and you guys bring up something else that made me think. Do you know copper is antibacterial as well? And they make a tongue scraper that's made out of copper. I've seen it, a Dr. Tongues, Tungs, makes it. They also make a great floss, but they make it, and a good tongue scraping, and not to bleeding. We're not trying to denude your tongue. You're getting plaque off your tongue. So do that once a day, no more than once a day. Couple swipes, don't have to do that, or even just brush your tongue. But if you've had really spicy food that you can't get out of your mouth, a lot of times that tongue scraping is going to help. Yeah. So Kathy, I'm sorry. I went off on my tangent.
No, because I know when I was selling it, when I was doing home parties back, like I want to say 5 years ago, one of my clients was so excited because she'd been using that toothbrush with the silver for 6 months. And her dentist was just surprised. She had no plaque. And so I thought, wow. And I find your mouth feels fresher, like when you're using it.
Excellent. I will have to get one just to try it out.
Yeah.
I use it all the time, Kathy. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks a lot. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and is that it? That was it? Okay. Any other questions before I move on?
Kathy, could you please put it in the chat, the name of that toothbrush, what you were mentioning just now?
Oh, the toothbrush, you mean?
With the silver, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And also Pat is a distributor for that company. So she's going to also be putting her information in the chat. So you'll be able to get some from that too, but you can do your research on it. And, you know, nobody's pressuring anybody into doing anything about it, you know, anything tonight. So good question. Yes. And thank you for asking for that again. Appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get going. You feel like you're in some sort of dental training right now. Let's see, where was I? Here we go. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. Yes, you guys. Oil pulling. Oh, here's, yeah. Just a sec. I see this chat now. Yeah, thank you, Pat. And Pat, would you put your, yes, you're putting your contact information in there too, Pat, okay? And Kathy, thank you very much. All right, so oil pulling is amazing. Oil pulling, there are studies, and you can see this one is about coconut oil, but it seems to have a similar effect with sesame seed oil, not the toasted sesame seed oil, but some sesame seed oil. Oil pulling in, now CHX is chlorhexidine, and chlorhexidine is really pretty potent stuff. It stains, it doesn't stain your teeth, but when you use it, you have, I mean, people come in and they have so much stain on their teeth when we see them. And Listerine can do the same thing. So if you're a Listerine, the old, you know, with the old style Listerine swisher, that can cause staining, as can this chlorhexidine. But a lot of periodontists, gum specialists would recommend it because it was supposed to help so much with the healing qualities. And what we found now, it inhibits bone growth and things. So it's going to be falling from grace. But oil pulling is, I've seen, I mean, if you've ever done it, I think it feels like your mouth is really clean. And what it does is it inhibits two kinds of bacteria that cause cavities. So if you tend to be cavity prone, or if you have a lot of root exposure, I'd highly recommend oil pulling. And you can go as hardcore oil pulling as you want, or you can do what a lot of my patients do, and they just take a mouthful of coconut oil, unless you like the sesame seed oil, tastes better, and just pop it in your mouth, swish it around while you're in the shower or while you're doing something else. And then spit it out in a tissue. You don't want to spit it down the drain because it's oily and it can clog your drains. There's also a school of thought that says you're pulling all these toxins out of your body. So not only some people feel that, and I can't speak to this, so that it pulls toxins out of their body. So it's also being very health conscious in other areas. So coconut oil is really, really cool. And there's the link to the PubMed article. So we have the plaque can cause bad breath. Periodontal disease can cause bad breath. Gut issues can cause bad breath. So this is where your gut probiotics come into play. And gut probiotics are acidophilus, all those other ones, all the other probiotics that are not lozenges. And these probiotics actually can help balance out your intestinal flora. And with that, your breath freshens. When you think about it, your oral mucosa follows all the way through to the other end of your body. So that kind of mucus membrane is the whole lining inside. And so anytime we have problems anywhere from our head down, it's going to work its way up. In naturopathy, I learned that disease starts from the head down, from the bottom up, from the foot up, from the outside in, or the inside out. So there are 4 ways that you're looking at the cascading events of disease. And so if I'm looking at mouth health or head issues, I am going to be looking below as well as anything that's really close in proximity. Digestive enzymes help with your stomach. So digestive enzymes are help your body digest food. And let me get back to the gut probiotics. I know it says on the bottle to take them with food. I personally found that they were most beneficial for me when I took them on an empty stomach. As soon as I woke up in the morning, I took them, and then I would get dressed and then go down and have my breakfast. That made a big, that helped. When I took gut probiotics with food, I didn't notice any difference at all. And getting off dairy, I mean, dairy creates a lot of mucus in a lot of people. For one, I don't want to get into nutrition so much on this and the pros and the cons of dairy, because that is a big issue. You know, I'm personally not a huge fan of dairy products, but you know, a lot of people are, and I don't want to get into that, but I do know that people, when my personal family, when they've gotten off of dairy, it's really improved their whole digestive system and improved their breath. And then the digestive enzymes, like I said, I've got to tell you this one too. There's a protease digestive enzyme, which actually, when taken without food, in the middle of the day, can actually break down inflammation. So protease digestive enzyme is a good one for that. And it's also in a lot of digestive enzymes for your mouth, and for your stomach. A lot of people believe as well that we often have a lot of indigestion issues because if our bodies are acidic, our stomach can't be as acidic as it needs to be to digest the food. So the food just gets kind of stagnant. Another reason that food can get stagnant in our stomachs is because we're eating foods that just don't agree with us to begin with, that may be maybe even allergic to. So, and we eat things that some digest in the mouth, some digest in the stomach, and so I have for years eaten what they call natural hygiene, where I'll only eat fruit by itself. I'll eat a vegetable and a carbohydrate together, and a protein and a vegetable together, but I won't eat a protein and a carbohydrate together because all those digest at different times. The protein, of course, takes a lot longer to digest. And the vegetables don't, but they don't seem to putrefy as fast. So you don't want to you're using different, digestive processes for all of those. Just throwing that as an aside, but you can.
So the digestive enzymes,
yes.
my husband takes the Nican digestive enzymes and he never has bad breath. So that helps.
Yeah. Very good. Awesome.
It really helps that gut. And then that is what, because he always complains about my breath. I feel safe in this forum.
You are safe in this forum because everybody has it at one time or another. You can say that. Even that handsome guy on the beer commercial, whatever that was. So you missed it. You were driving. So yeah. So that's good. You might want to start with those digestive enzymes, Pat, just to see what the difference is. I love it when people do their own little experimentation. It's not like you have to change everything all at once, because then you don't know what really worked and what didn't for you, But here we go with this NIH study, or this article from the Tropical Administration of Health, had enzyme supplementation significantly increased the energy of these Linwu ducks. So think of that. If you're needing an enzyme to help you digest your food better, and it gives you more energy, woo, right? So that's something that's really cool to think of. Sinus issues can also cause, oh gosh, guys, back to the gut issues and the digestive issues. Acid reflux can also be caused by sleep apnea. Think about this. If you are breathing, let's see here. I'm going to stop share for a sec. I can't. I'm blowing it. Okay, I'll keep going. So if you are breathing, hold your nose and keep your lips together and try to breathe in. You can't, you're sealing all the entryways for oxygen. What happens to your belly? It pumps up and down, right? It's trying to suck in that air. Your diaphragm is just pushing. And what happens is, if you're asleep and you're not breathing properly, if you have apnea and you stop breathing, and sometimes people even wake up gasping for breath. With apnea, that gets your stomach pumping and can cause acid reflux. So acid reflux may have more things going on than just, oh, I ate something that didn't agree with me. Okay, so now on to our sinus issues. So sinus issues, I mean, just think about it. If you have sinus drainage, you've got all this mucus, which is the perfect place for bacteria to live. And they're living, you know, it's running down your throat, it's getting into your mouth. I've seen patients who have cleared up their sinus issues and their mouths are so much cleaner because there wasn't that extra yummy environment for the bacteria to live in. So we want to clean up any kind of sinus issues that we have. Neti Pots are great. That clear nose spray is a xylitol nose spray. This is especially good, the clear nose spray, if you have a lot of chronic sinus infections, because what causes chronic sinus infections and your antibiotics can't break through, you've got biofilm in your sinuses. It's just like the pockets in your mouth, that biofilm, that slimy stuff builds up in your sinuses, and antibiotics cannot get into that. It's like a steel wall that they've put up, but xylitol does break through. So now remember, it might upset your stomach because healthy nose hygiene is you blow your nose, you use the nose spray, you blow your nose again. But you might get some of that xylitol down in your stomach and it might cause some indigestion. So just keep that in mind. If you use the xylitol nose spray and you end up having a stomach upset, it might be related. There's also something you can buy that's a pumped neti pot called the Navage. And I have patients who love it. I personally am like, but you can. I have actually, I used to just sniff salt water up my nose. I'd mix a little salt in my hand, mix some salt and water in my hand and just put one nostril in the palm and sniff it up and then do it for the other side. I learned that from a guy from Finland and he shared that with me. He said, oh, we do it all the time. So I want you to look too, if you can, at this, down here at the bottom, you see the sinuses, right? And we've got all these sinuses and think of where you might get a headache if you have a sinus. You might get one right between your eyes, you get one over your forehead. And these ones that are the maxillary ones, the ones that I'm not sure, my thing is blocking them out, but they're right across your nose. They look kind of like a butterfly. They actually go over onto the tops of your teeth. And so there's bone, there in between, but the pressure of full sinuses can actually make you feel like you have a toothache because that pressure kind of pushes a tooth out of, pushes it out just a little bit. And that can actually make you feel like, oh my gosh, I've got a toothache. But then think, is it, and it just happened and, I'm so miserable from this cold. Try getting rid of that congestion and then see if you still have the toothache. If you still have the toothache, see your dentist. And then these are some articles on the effects of xylitol with chronic sinus infection biofilms. And here it significantly reduced these biofilm masses. And then this other one down here talks about the oral biofilms and how they mix xylitol with this acid. I don't know if I honestly would mix it with this acid because it's been used in pesticides. which is probably, I mean, it might work really well on the oral pathogens, but the xylitol really, really does a good job on that. So it worked against strep mutans, which is a cavity producing bacteria, and S. sobrinus, which is also a cavity producing bacteria. So our next topic for bad breath is dehydration. Well, who would think? But yeah, if you have a dry mouth, which can be from medication as well. But check with your doctor if your mouth gets too dry, because you don't want to get cavities or anything from having a dry mouth either. But you really want to make sure that you're getting plenty of water, the amount of water that's appropriate for you. And that depends on your weight, how much, exercise you're doing, the weather. If you're eating more liquidy foods like fruits and vegetables, or you're eating condensed foods like protein and carbohydrates, you're going to need more water than if you're eating the heavier, more condensed foods. And the average amount of water that you should take in is half your body weight in ounces. So a healthy body can process 27 ounces up to 30, almost 34 ounces an hour. So it's pretty good. So one thing that I have really found that quick starts my hydration and really has helped if I'm feeling, if I've woken up with a really bad taste in my mouth, is to drink 2 big glasses of water. And I've just gotten in a habit of doing that first thing in the morning, just straight up water. I mean, you can add lemon in it, which is great. You can add, add some celery tincture in it, which is great. But just straight up water, it helps flush your kidneys right off the bat. They've worked hard overnight, and it's going to help them flush out everything that they have picked up overnight and get rid of it. So another reason for bad breath would be untreated decay. And I mean, just when you even read these odors, these gases, you just go, oh, I can just imagine that it smells. So that kind of goes along with why the Perio problems, why Perio doesn't smell so great as well, because you've got a lot of decomposition and destruction going on in the mouth with untreated periodontal disease. So treated periodontal disease, under control periodontal disease is a different story for sure. But here we go back to how can we reduce our cavities? Oil pulling. Oil pulling has been, time and again, has shown that it reduces the kind of bacteria that cause cavities. Another thing that you can do is the xylitol. Xylitol, if you treat the whole family with those 5 doses of the xylitol product, you can eradicate these germs and have the children be cavity free. Which brings us to the fluoride and the pros and the cons of fluoride. Now, this is a big, big question. This is somebody who lived in California back during the John Birch Society and putting the fluoride in the water. And, all the things that go with that. And I'll tell you my personal stuff, and you don't have to go along with it for sure. I personally don't drink fluoridated water. I do use a fluoride product occasionally if I have sensitivity. I've gotten that under control. When I first, oh my gosh, I was probably 15 years old. And if maybe somebody who's had a reaction to fluoride, not the upset stomach and the vomiting. I mean, that's just taking too much of a toxin in your stomach and you have to, your body's getting rid of it. But I actually had this Fu Manchu red rash mustache around my mouth. I was 15. I was like embarrassed beyond belief. So I went to the dermatologist and they gave me something called tar cream. And it was supposed to take care of the redness. It took all pigmentation out. So I still kind of had the red, and then I had this white mustache. And then somebody said, oh my gosh, this is dating myself. Hydrocortisone cream is just out. The dermatologist said, you have got to try, I mean, you can try that. He said, the one thing that you will probably have though, is wrinkles around your mouth when you're 50. And I'm like, you know, I'm 15. Who knows if I'm going to make it to 50, right? That's so old. And so I said, sure, I'll use it. And it went away. And then I started reading more about hydrocortisone creams and decided that that was not something that I wanted to continue. I ended up on a low dose of tetracycline instead, which worked really well. And then I found a dermatologist up here who said, oh my gosh, I started noticing this back when fluoride started to be put in toothpaste. You have an allergic reaction to the fluoride in the toothpaste. And I got started on Crest with fluoride. Probably I remember being like 7 or 8 when we started using that. And and so I got off, everything, and my face just went crazy, and eventually it all went away. The rash went away. I quit using fluoride toothpaste. It went away. For a while there, for travel, I would only brush with baking soda because that's all I could find. Went to, and if we went on travel, I would take a little sample tube of fluoride toothpaste because it was easy, and I'd brush with it and I'd break out again. Now I can do whatever I want. I don't have a problem. But that being said, thank you for listening to my heart-wrenching story. But the fluoride pros and cons, in my opinion, if we have enough minerals in our bodies are not going to take on something that's second rate. Your thyroid wants selenium, iodine, zinc, and iron. Your bones want calcium and vitamin D. They take in fluoride because they don't have enough of that other stuff. It's an easier pickup for them. So make sure that you're getting your trace minerals, make sure that you're getting all the nutrients that you need. Again, personally, I wouldn't drink fluoridated water because the bones may suck it up and your thyroid too. So I'd stay away from that. You may be wondering why I have this adorable picture of a bunny over here in a clover field, but clover herbal tincture has everything your thyroid needs. So you might want to add that if you don't have a good supplement that you're taking right now that has everything that you need. So we're going to talk about a fluoride varnish in dentistry. This is the hot fluoride right now. The old swish and spit fluorides, the old tray fluorides, which really did end up, a lot of people swallowing it. Those are not the new stuff that's out. I'm not sure. I'm sure some offices are still using them. But the fluoride varnish is applied onto your teeth. It's gotten great results. It actually reduces that bacteria that causes cavities, the count in the saliva of children. So that's an interesting thing. But this varnish, you just paint, the hygienist dries off your teeth, paints it on. And then that fluoride varnish, you don't brush it off for 2 hours. And in those 2 hours, it soaks in, and it's almost like having those trays on for 2 hours. I couldn't find out how much fluoride leaches out of the varnish. More goes into the tooth than leaches out. And it's a lesser amount than would be in the swish or the gel, because you don't need to like goop it on. Again, that's a personal choice that you will make the decision yourself. Okay. All right. So, does anyone have any questions about that? Okay, Kathy.
Hey, me again.
Good.
No, you had mentioned, and I would love, I'm on a good probiotic, but I'd like to get a good digestive enzyme.
Okay.
Is there something you've tried, or where could I look for like a good digestive enzyme?
So I thank you for asking that. There are some good ones out there. What you want to do is you want to get one with a variety of enzymes in it. And the one that I use, I actually use a lot of doTERRA products, and they make a digestive enzyme called Terrazyme. And I'll take a picture of what's in here, and then you will have an example of what, and I'll send it to you with the, when I send the replay. But it's got protease, papain, amylase, lactase, lipase. So it's just got about 10 of them. Okay, and there's a couple essential oils in there.
And then my husband does the one, the Nikan one.
That's right. So you may have your connection right there, Kathy, with your, oh no, that's Norwex, Nikan, I'm sorry, different product line. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so if you want, Pat, you can put your info in the chat also for Nikan. Anything else before we move on to ice chewing? All right. So ice chewing is, the big thing in dentistry is, you know, breaking your teeth. The thing is ice condenses, and as it condenses, it you know, that and almonds. Too bad. Well, no, I guess that and like, what are those Heath bars, you know, the hard caramel stuff, or the recent chocolate covered caramel. But really ice is the worst, because as it condenses, it becomes stronger and stronger and can break your teeth. Another thing that really is kind of a fascinating thing for me is that ice chewing can be an iron deficiency anemia. Now that is something you don't want to overdose on iron, because just because you chew ice, oh, I must be iron deficient. Not necessarily, but it's definitely worth looking at, especially if it's been going on for more than a month. You could also just need to drink a lot more water. Sometimes ice is really, you know, refreshing. If you feel like you really cannot break the habit of ice, at least get shaved ice. That will not damage your teeth quite so much. And I mean, of course, if you don't have a health concern with that. So this is from Medical News Today, where it says sucking and chewing on ice in moderation probably won't cause anybody harm. But if you have a compulsion, you may require medical attention if it lasts for more than a month. Pregnant woman right away, because that may be a sign that there are not only iron supplements, but I've seen other, you know, just off a little bit on the nutrition. But please don't order any iron supplements online until you talk with your physician and get some blood work. So you're starting to see a little bit of the mouth-body connection there, no doubt. So here we are thinking mouth-body, but we're going to talk about how can you be safe during COVID-19 at the dental office. And we went back to work. Our office was closed for 6 weeks at the beginning. I actually waited 8 weeks before going back because I just kind of wanted everybody to kind of get rolling before I popped in. I'm also one of the oldest, actually, I am definitely the oldest person in the practice. What I usually tell my patients when they're exceptionally concerned about coming to the dental office, I say be the first appointment of the day, or be the first appointment after lunch. That's when the rooms have had the most chance to air out. There's not a lot going on yet in the morning, and that's your best time to have less of the virus if it's even out there. The office should be asking questions about if anybody's come in contact with anybody who's been COVID positive, anybody in the family has been. The travel thing is not so much a matter out of the country, but now I feel maybe we should be asking, if you traveled, where did you go? And just to be aware of that. And so you just want to ask your doctor, what are they doing to control the aerosols, and wear your mask and bring your own hand sanitizer. They should have some there. And if you walk in and you don't feel comfortable, you can leave. And if they yell at you, you can leave. So you can let them know that you're concerned. You don't want to let them know that you don't trust them, but you can also say, I just need to feel safe before I come. May I ask you some questions? So don't be shy, because if you're uncomfortable, then it just makes the whole your whole appointment uncomfortable. And then I ran across, people who were concerned about damaging teeth when they were getting their teeth cleaned. And there is something, there were a couple things out there that had me going, wow, there's a lot of people who feel that way. I actually haven't run across too many, but our teeth are harder than, well, gold's not all that hard when you think about it, it can be rubbed pretty much, but steel, our teeth are harder than steel. And if hygienists have gone to school, this is all we did for, almost 3 years, is learn how to do this one thing well. We know how much pressure to use. We know how to hold the instrument so we're not going to be gouging out anything. We know how to, we know what we're doing. And it's okay to be concerned about it. And it's okay to voice your concern. To me, I would much rather know what's going on in my patient's head than have them being worried about something. And of course, you're going to say to them, I know it's not you, this is me, and this is my concern. And it's okay. But don't go in more frequently than every 2 months, because if you go in more than that, then that will wear enamel away. The only time I've seen dental instruments or dental cleaning tools damage teeth is this one guy came in and he had a crown, but his root was just so skinny. It was about half the width of his tooth. And I was like, what's going on? What have you been, I said, have you been cleaning your teeth at home? Oh no. And then my boss came in, the dentist came in, and then he confessed. He had bought some tools at a swap meet or a flea market, and he didn't like the stains that he was getting on his teeth, so he was rubbing them off. Now, no doubt these instruments were rather dull, But if you're doing it every day and you're not, you don't know what you're doing, you can do some damage. That's for sure. I don't recommend home dentistry. So some of the comments that that came up around that is inadequate scale, complications from teeth scaling. Well, you can have inadequate work done, and yes, you can lose teeth, and that's periodontal disease. You're going to lose teeth to periodontal disease. And the thing is, if you have inadequate cleanings, then you can always go get a second opinion. If you don't feel like you're getting the kind of work and care that you deserve and that you want, you have the right, and it's important for you to go and get a second opinion. Your dental office should not be upset with you for getting a second opinion. You are not leaving. You're not saying you're leaving their office. You're just wanting a second opinion. I mean, you go to the doctor and they tell you something or other, and you go, there's something off with that. I'd like to get some more information. And you go get another opinion from another medical practitioner. It happens all the time. Do it with dentistry as well. And ask questions until you feel comfortable. And if people get upset with that, it may be that they're running out of time. They may not have enough time to really sit down and talk with you and tell you what you want to know. But then ask them, I know this may not be the time for me to get all my answers. Is there a way that, is there a website you could send me to, or can we email back and forth, or, can you call me later tonight or something like that, so that I can get my questions answered? I mean, I think that's a totally appropriate way to work. And teeth scaling can make your gums swollen and tender. And so can flossing if you haven't flossed in a while. And the reason for that is because the bacteria is being irritated. It's like anytime if you had a cut that was all dirty and you scrubbed it out, your tissue would get kind of swollen. It would even maybe bleed a little bit. It might even get a little redder than it is, because you really scrubbed it out. Well, if your mouth has a bunch of pathogens in it and you go disturb it, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So those are some things about that. But again, if you feel uncomfortable, you need to ask. It's your thing. You got to take your power back. You've got to ask those questions, get some answers. Don't leave until you have a way to get your questions answered, because you have all the control over your mouth. You have the control over your health. And when our mouths bleed, and I did want to mention this to you guys, when they bleed, it's not a sign that you hurt yourself. It's not a sign that that the hygienist cut your gums. It's not a sign that you did something wrong or they did something wrong. It's a sign that your capillaries are weak. They're leaking. And anytime they leak, they're leaking because they are being bombarded by these bacteria. And it could be medications you're on, and it could be aspirin, but more likely if you have an infection in your mouth, it's kind of all mixed up together. And when you are when your gums bleed, and they can bleed when you're chewing and you don't know it, they can bleed when you're grinding your teeth and you don't know it. And that bleeding, those pathogens that live in your mouth, they have found with those saliva tests that I mentioned earlier, with those saliva tests, you can find the pathogens that are linked, are a factor in Alzheimer's. You can find pathogens that make it hard to control diabetes. You can find pathogens that have increased factors in colon cancer, kidney cancer, and pancreatic cancer. You have pathogens that show up in the plaque in your artery walls that can cause coronary artery disease. I'm not saying that oral pathogens cause disease, they're a factor. It's like the straw that breaks the camel's back. You don't know what it is. We can see our mouths. We can do something about it because we can see it. Knowledge is power. So when we can see what we're looking at, then we know if we're healthy or not. And that brings me back to the, I mentioned clenching, and I did want to touch base on that that can be a sign of apnea. That can be a sign that you snore. Clenching your teeth does not only mean that you're stressed, although it may. So that's something that I'll probably talk a little more in depth in another time if there's interest in that one. But clenching, what you might do for that before you go to bed at night is just even take your fingers and put them up underneath your cheekbones and press. If you've got any sore spots there, just kind of hold it. And that's just going to coax those cheek muscles, those clenching muscles to relax. You can put warm compresses on it. I use, if I'm really tense, I'll use Deep Blue, which is doTERRA's Panaway, I think is Young Living's thing, but it's just a nice warm, it's kind of like a Bengay. It really feels good. So those are some things you can do for that. Also, if you will take your fingers and just press them back behind your head and just reach underneath that your skull and just press there. That is also going to loosen up that tension that you're going to feel, and that's going to help relax that. So those are some nice things you can do. Just kind of give yourself a massage, pulling out from the middle of your neck, right underneath your occiput. And then even down the middle of the neck, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to kind of pull and massage. And then right down at the base, you know where that bone is, C7, the one that sticks out, then just rub that and pull, and then just kind of hold and hang. And that's going to help relax those muscles in your neck even now. So, and that can help with the clenching in the face. Okay. We're almost winding down. I'm sorry, you guys okay with just a little more stuff? It's just about what you can do to do at home. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the Kais. I do want to share with you a toothbrush, burstoralcare.com. You can get a power brush off 40% off if you use this code GWVUHS, or shoot me a text and I will happily send you the link to that. But what I do when I use a burst power toothbrush, because it gets under my gums really well, use it at a 45-degree angle. This is the burst brush. It's awesome. It's very similar to a Sonicare. Love Sonicares. They're awesome. They're also a little more expensive than I want to pay for my toothbrush. And these are $40 with my code. And there's a lifetime warranty as long as you're on their subscription for the brush head, which is only $6. But Sonicares, honestly, if you like bells and whistles, go with like the Sonicare, because it's got apps for you, how much pressure you're using. It's got everything you need to know. The other brush that I like, and this one you use just like you would hold a regular manual brush. You just would roll it up. Never scrub with your brush because you don't need to, because it's doing it all. The next brush I use is my battery operated Oral-B. You can also buy a really upscale Oral-B with all the bells and whistles. This one you can get for like $15. It's AA battery operated. You use this one only perpendicular to your tooth. The bristles only work perpendicular. So when you're brushing in the back, you have to be perpendicular. Otherwise, if you're at any angle at all, it's not going to work. So the problem is like inside on the back, inside corners of your back teeth, you really need to kind of make sure your tongue's out of the way and do that. Okay. I mentioned the Plaque HD. This is what the what it looks like. Oops, is that too glary? So you can buy this online. It's really pretty cool stuff. It's a green toothpaste, and you brush until it's not green anymore. So it marks plaque. It's really great. If you have any sores in your mouth, clove essential oil is great. I had bitten my lip and I had a sore from it. And I just took a little clove oil, a little drop of it, and put it on my lip. Clove is an amazing oral care product. So it does a lot of good things there. Thank you. You guys are the best. That wraps it up for me. Any questions that I can help you with?
No questions, but I'm going to send you a picture of the back of these things. So I was just reading them as you were talking. So they have xylitol in them.
Is it 100%?
It doesn't tell you, but it's like one of the first 3 ingredients. And what do they say? Normally the ingredients like with the most are like, they're in like the order that.
That's, yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Send it over. And if it has any of the tols in it, like sorbitol or any other kind of sweeteners, if it's 100%, that's great. And I'll let you know. But I mean, I tell you, I know their products are good. It's just, it's going to be a good toothpaste, no doubt. Baking soda is also great. It changes the pH, but if it's 100% xylitol, that's really good. Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to see the picture, and we'll post it out. Send it to me. I'll send it out with when I send the replay of this. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Kathy?
Oh, I just want to say thank you, Sally. You have so much knowledge. I really enjoyed today. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. You guys were amazing. I felt like I was lecturing, but thank you so much.
It was good information.
I just thought of a question.
Yeah.
I just thought of a question. What do you think of root canals? Like,
yeah, that's a good one. That has, I can give you the pros and the cons. You know, why don't you hang on after? Let me just kind of finish up a little bit, and because that's going to be a longer topic and everybody else can listen in if they want to. I'll even record it, but I don't want to keep people too late, if that's okay. So please do. I want to hear questions, because you guys are going to get another time with me. And I do want to focus on the questions that you have. These were questions that people had asked me. And so I talked about them, but any question that you have about dental concerns, I will, in your free call, because you guys registered, you're going to get the link to the free call. Then I will go over all those topics. So I can go more into grinding. I can go more into apnea. I can go more into stuff like that. So, and if you have to leave and you don't want to listen to the replay and you want to hear more about root canals after Kathy and I have talked, then you can do that too. So you could ask about those. So
I'm gonna head out. But thank you so much, Sally. I learned a lot and I'm excited for our call.
Oh, me too, Sylvia. Thank you so much it was great to see you.
Yeah. Take care.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
See ya.
Bye now.
Bye.
Okay, Sally, we'll catch up another time.
Yeah,
Thanks a
sounds
lot.
great, Claudia.
Thanks for that info.
Yeah, thanks for joining. That
You
was
bet.
awesome.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Okay, so.
oh, thank you. Thank you, Sally. Yeah, I don't have a lot of time. I've got another Zoom appointment, but it's good because our dentist retired last year, and my husband went to the dentist that bought her practice out. And he's a younger guy, and my husband wasn't that impressed. So we're in the process of looking for a dentist, but I am so terrified just because I'd shared with you when I was 12, our dentist had gone on holidays and it was a fill-in dentist. And I don't know whether he just didn't feel my tooth freeze it enough, but he dropped the drill, and of course it's frozen. So I didn't feel it till the freezing, and then it was all chewed up. And that, you know what, that stays with you. It's like,
And for one, he didn't explain what happened when it happened. You know, if you would have gotten that information, it still would have been the way it was. But
well, he yelled at me. I was 12, but he yelled at me.
That is,
and he's
traumatizing.
Yeah, like, and I'm a kid, and I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, don't you go home and tell your parents it's my fault. It's your fault. So when you have a dentist do that to you, I'm like, okay, I won't. You know, like, I mean, I was a kid, so.
Oh my God. Yeah, from my work, I know those are the two things that actually bring on that fear. It's not paranoia. It's almost panic.
No, it's fear.
Yeah, it's downright fear, but there was another, a phobia. I mean, that's the word I was thinking of, but it's just petrified. It's having a shocking experience and then having an adult speak to you in that way, and it anchors it in. And that's why I say, if he would have at least sat you up and said, oh my God, I just dropped my tool. You jumped, I jumped, it happened. You know, and then it could have been both your faults.
Yeah.
He probably thought he was going to go in for a lawsuit, and he just freaked out. And
he did.
It's his fault. It's not your fault, because he should have gotten you numb.
Yeah.
He should have done something. I mean, you know, he was the one holding the drill. You were not.
Who knows?
Professional. You're the 12-year-old. So it is not your fault. I know you can't just, but please believe me when I say that.
You know, yeah, and I know, I mean, it's not like you're a dentist, but I lost the filling out of a tooth several years ago. And my dentist was working on other teeth, and then she was going to do that. I got MS. I was so ill for a while. I didn't go to the dentist, but using the toothbrush with the silver, I just could not believe how, you know, like, my mouth never bothered me, and I just kept that toothbrushed out so I didn't leave food sitting in it or that.
Yeah.
But I'm just so terrified. I've never had a root canal, and I'm so afraid with a new dentist, he's going to suggest it. And in my head, I've just heard too many horror stories of friends, and I'm not interested in getting a root canal.
Okay, so I'll tell you about it. Okay, so some people, I'm glad you told me it that way, because some people don't like them for the energy aspects of it. And so I personally am of the, I feel like your body's going to be fine, you know, and if it's not, then you get the tooth taken out, right? But there are so many other infections that can be in our bodies that we don't know are happening. And a root canal is most uncomfortable when you're in pain when you go.
Okay.
Because the gases have been held in. It's harder to get numb because it's infected.
Okay.
With your kind of situation, since it's open, I don't know if you're going to need a root canal or not.
I know. I won't know till I go.
Yeah, but at least you're not in pain.
No, not at all. No.
So
pain.
all the gases have an escape route if they're happening. So you'll be able to get numb. Now, Kathy, I would suggest if you find a specialist to go to, because often a root canal specialist, an endodontist, they do it day in, day out. They can do a root canal with their eyes closed. And
what's his name, Sally? Sorry, who am I?
an endodontist. E-N-D-O.
Sorry, what did A-N?
E-N.
Oh,
E-N-D-O. I think it's just, yeah, O-N-T-I-S-T. We just call him Endo. So I don't know how to spell it.
okay, no, well,
yeah.
at least it gives me something to ask.
Yeah.
Because we have something, not very, maybe 30 minutes from us. And they do light sedation and they have special tools. And I'm just trying to make enough money online that I could, you know what I mean? That I could not
just go in, knock me out and do it.
That's what I want. Like, just give me the gas and I'll be happy.
Yeah. You know, there are some places that just do something called angiolysis. A-N-G-I-O-L-Y-S.
You said A-N?
A-N, ankylolysis. A-N-K, I spelled it wrong the first time. A-N-K-I-O-L-I-S-I-S. There's probably a Y in there somewhere.
Okay.
But they give you Valium. They give you a couple Valiums before you come in. Your dentist would be able to do that. You wouldn't be able to drive there or home. You'd have to have a ride.
No, I can't right now.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that name you just gave me?
That is a way to sedate somebody without giving them gas or putting any IV in or anything like that. Just just ask them to write you a prescription for Valium. Can you take Valium?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not on any medication with my MS.
Okay.
I've had it 7 years and I do everything holistically. So I love the way you speak because I'm into the essential oils. I'm into plant-based foods, the enzymes, you know, so when I listen to you, I'm like, chat.
Right. And there's always a way to make it work together. You know, I mean, yeah, we need what we need, but we try to do as much as we can on our own.
Well, that's why when you said why, like, what did you want to get out of this? I wanted the information from somebody who's not making money on me. Like, I don't want the dentist who stands to benefit to tell me, because they could tell me anything and I don't know if they're telling me the truth.
Yeah, and that's why you have to trust them. Or get a second opinion.
Now we don't have anybody. Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I hate it when it's new. We loved our dentist. She was so good.
Well, they also have a board of reviews.
Oh, I never thought like a doctor. See, I never think about that. Yeah. I guess you could go in and
And you know what else they say is ask a periodontist, the gum specialist, who they would go see. Because periodontists see the dental work of 20 different dentists.
Oh.
And you ask not the dentist, ask the woman who answers the phone. She'll tell you. Ask your hygienist what she thinks of the dentist and listen how she answers. She might not say, oh God, he sucks, but she might go, you know, he's probably pretty good. Or pause a little too long.
Yep, I hear you.
Yeah, so that's how you can, we have people all the time who wait until the doctor leaves and say, what would you do? You know, and I have patients who ask my boss, if I was your sister, if I was your daughter, if I was your mom, what would you tell them? And when you ask things like that, They have to tell you, you know, and you can look at them, you'll know if they're telling you the truth then too, you know? I tell them the same thing, you know? Or if they yell at you,
That's good.
if they yell at you, they're hiding something. I mean, that's just how I am. I mean, how I think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish, I mean, I was too young. Well, not that I was too young, but I probably was immature too, as far as I never thought to ask for a second opinion or to, you know, to kind of rise over that fear.
Oh, that's yeah. No. You were young.
Yeah.
You were 12. That's the, and you're in a situation that's not a comfortable situation anyway. I would not own any of that.
Oh, okay.
I really would.
Well, I'm gonna see. I'll see how much money I can make online, and then I'll go get just sedated and let them do whatever.
That's right. Get the cleaning done. Get everything done.
I know. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what about replacing fillings? Is that good or bad? Good.
It depends. Are you talking about replacing mercury fillings, or are you talking about
mercury?
Okay, so there are a couple kinds of fillings, mercury fillings. There's something to be said for not taking them all out at the same time, because then that's just a big load. There are two schools of thought on that. One of them is that once they're old, they've lost most of the mercury out of them anyway.
Good.
Some of
Good,
them,
because these are behind my front teeth.
you know, and Kathy, if they're behind, they're not getting that grinding, so you're not even in danger of really loose, you know, unless you
that
suck
makes
on
me
lemon.
feel way. Well, that makes me feel way better. I'm like, oh, because the dentist had wanted to take those all out, and
Well,
I'm like,
for color, they can discolor your front teeth.
oh, okay.
But if you don't want
well, I'm getting up there, so do I want to go there? Like, you know, like it's not like I'm 20 and 30 anymore. So it's like, I'm good where I'm at. I'm happy.
You know what? We get to a point that we feel so secure in how we look and feel, it doesn't really matter.
I know. And I love Zoom.
I love the filter.
I know. I love Zoom. It's great. Who, Sally, how long have you been? Are you an online? The only reason you popped into my inbox was because of Nancy.
Yeah. I believe.
Are you part of WPN or no?
I am.
Okay.
I am a member there. Yes.
Okay.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a gold member. I joined last year and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. You know, when you're like, okay, I want to do an online business. What do I don't want to do? I